What's good, fam? It's your boy Ghetto. I'm back with another video, and we've been having a lot of interesting conversations about the differences between controller mode and standalone and the MPC software. And I kind of want to talk about a lot of that stuff because I do think some things need to be cleared up. I believe there are a lot of misconceptions about the differences between controller mode and standalone and why you should use either. Now, if you want to hear what I got to say about it, follow me. Now, before we get started, this video is being brought to you by Motion VFX. And what Motion VFX offers are video editing plugins for Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, and Adobe Premiere. They also have video editing templates, which makes video editing fast and a lot easier to do. And honestly, I own and use a lot of Motion VFX plugins that I bought and paid for out of my own pocket. Now, the link in this video is a sponsor link, and it will help the channel. But these are very, very good plugins. I use them in every single video that I have. You'll notice that you've seen these plugins used by major companies in advertisement, on the internet, and also in TV, including places like the NFL, NBA, and also companies like Apple. So if you want to check them out, click the link in the description. It's definitely worth looking at. Okay, so I feel like I've said this before in other videos, but there are a lot of differences between standalone and controller mode and the functionality that is there inside of the software and the hardware devices. If you don't know, in controller mode, it has some things that the MPC simply cannot do in standalone. I rarely use standalone in my production. I'm almost always in controller mode. And in fact, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. A lot of the top producers that you watch on YouTube that say standalone, standalone, standalone all of the time, if you really pay attention to their videos, they're actually using controller mode too. There are some that are actually standalone, but a lot of them are not. I'm just keeping it real. But they'll tell you standalone all day because it's a hot button word and they know that's what you want to hear. Now, I feel like the reason that a lot of people are so bent on standalone, whether they admit it or not, is because they're actually not very computer literate. And I kind of understand that. I know a lot of people today who barely know how to turn a computer on, don't know how to get from A to B or anything inside of a computer. So that's why they want to be standalone, whether they really want to admit it or not. And then other people don't really understand the power that controller mode has over standalone. And don't get me wrong, I have all of the newer MPCs. So I definitely understand the power of having the hardware device with the software. It actually makes it so much easier. As for standalone, one of the biggest things that I've heard over and over and over again as to why somebody might choose standalone over a computer is they say, why should I have to stare at a computer screen all day? I don't want to stare at a computer screen. And quite honestly, I understand that. But at the same time, let me show you something real quick. As you can see on my computer screen right now, this is the MPC 2.0 software, right? Now, let me change my view real quick. Now, this is my MPC X. As you can see, the MPC X is on. Now you can see that the software is on. Now, for people who say that they don't want to have to stare at a computer screen all day because of the distractions that the computer screen might cause, I say this. You could turn the screen off and it's still going to work. Right now, I'm reaching over here. I'll just turn the power off on my screen. There's nothing there. I'm not looking at a computer screen, but if I switch back to my overhead view, as you can see, the MPC is still running fine. Okay, so we've established that the MPC works just fine, even when it's connected to the computer and the computer screen is turned off. I kind of feel like you're losing out on that one because, I mean, I just showed you. I'm going to keep my computer screen off for a while just to show you that even when you're connected to the computer, you don't have to touch the computer. The only time you really would ever have to touch this computer or the mouse is if you're using third-party plugins. But if you're using all built-in plugins that you get with the standalone device, you will never have to touch the computer or the mouse at all, but you can still utilize the power that's given to you by running the software off of the computer. As an example, while I'm in controller mode, let me show you something real quick. We are going to go into our menu and go to preferences. We are in the general tab, and when you scroll down a little bit, you go to the audio warp algorithms, which are the time stretch algorithm. Right now, mine is set to Elastic Pro, which is the best audio warp or time stretch algorithm that the MPC has. Now, the MPC in controller mode has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different time stretch algorithms. Now, let's compare that to what you got in standalone. Here is my MPC Live 2 in standalone. It's not plugged up to anything. It's running off of battery power. Let's go into our menu, preferences, general, and we'll go down to our audio warp algorithms. So if you're looking at the time stretch or the audio warp algorithm, we have Pro 10 and Basic. So in standalone, you only get 2 time stretch algorithms, which are not as good as what you get in controller mode. For some people, that's not a big deal. For me, I like to use the best that I can possibly get. And as you can see, my computer screen is still off. Another thing that you get in controller mode that you don't get in standalone, which is something that I kind of feel like is a game changer. As you know, you can take any sound in a drum program and turn it into a key group. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so we're going to turn this sound into a key group. We're going to go into Program Edit, and we're going to hit that key group icon. All right, now that we have that sound as a key group, normally, as you go up higher in octaves, it speeds the sound up. As you go lower in octaves, it slows that sound down. Now, when you're in controller mode, you can go into Program Edit, and you can turn on Audio Warp for all of the keys in that key group. And you can match the tempo with whatever the tempo is of the song. We're on the MPC Live 2 in standalone. I'm going to take that sound right there, and we're going to turn that into a key group. So now we're in Program Edit, and we're going to tap the key group icon. We just turned that sound into a key group. In standalone, you do not have the option to warp all of your samples. It's just not there. But you can do that in controller mode. Just throwing that out there. Now, another reason I feel like the software is more powerful than the MPC Standalone, because the MPC is in standalone at the most, if you got an MPC X, MPC Key 61, gets 4 gigabytes of RAM. In controller mode, with this running off of my computer as it is right now, my computer has 64 gigabytes of RAM, which is an enormous amount and a much faster processor than what the MPC X has built in it. So I'm getting a lot more horsepower out of my MPC than I am in standalone. So that's why I choose to use it as a controller instead of a standalone device. Also, when it comes to the MPC, in controller mode, it will let you fly through the software again without ever having to touch a mouse. So let me show you right now. You see my MPC right here, currently on the main screen. If I want to go to my browser, step sequencer, sampler, XY effects, pad perform, program edit, sample edit, pad mixer, which is not on the track for that right now, but if it was, boom, pad mixer, channel mixer. And I'm just flying all through that at the push of a button. I'm just moving through the software really, really fast. So that's one of the advantages of using the software in controller mode with a hardware device. It allows you to sweep through the software at an immense speed. And again, just to show you, my screen is still off. I'm not looking at the screen at all, but I'm seeing everything on the software on the MPC screen, and it looks no different than what it does in standalone. I feel like you're just losing out on the extra power that you can get. Now, another thing that I've heard people say a lot, and this is in regards to the MPC Live 2, is that people choose the MPC Live 2 because it has a battery. You got 5 hours of battery life. You can travel with it and still make beats and everything like that. And that's why the MPC Live 2 is better than the software. And in that case, I say that's kind of true. That's kind of true. But not really, because of the fact that you can put the MPC software on a laptop like this. This is a MacBook Pro. It has a 10-hour battery life, and it can run the MPC software, and you can make full productions on it without a hardware device if you really wanted to. Now, I'm not going to say that's the most intuitive experience, because I would much rather have a hardware device to do that, but it is not actually necessary. And this weighs a lot less than the MPC Live 2. And this has more power than the MPC Live 2 by far. Even if you get a standard laptop computer that comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM, i7 processor, it's going to be more powerful than the MPC in standalone, actually. Does that necessarily mean better? Not exactly, though. But you can do more with it. And riding off of that, I've heard that people want to use the MPC hardware devices because they have the 8 outputs and the way that you can route sound in and out of it. That's very true. And the MPC is actually an audio interface with its own sound card, converters, so on and so forth. But at the same time, you can take this laptop and hook it up to any audio interface in the world. And some of those have better converters, better sound quality, better everything than what's built into the MPC. You can run this laptop through a RME audio interface, a Apollo audio interface, or something like that, and increase the sound quality much more than a standalone MPC. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't increase the audio output of the MPC either. As of right now, for me, in controller mode, I'm currently running my MPC outputs through a Universal Audio Apollo. And the sound is definitely different. There is a noticeable difference from using the built-in sound outputs of the MPC. But I can also tell you this. When I'm running the MPC in standalone, using the built-in sound card that the MPC has in it, and if I run the MPC in controller mode using that same built-in sound card, I don't really hear a difference in the sound. So to me, controller mode and standalone both sound the same if you're using the built-in audio device that's part of the MPC. Now, where you get a difference is when you run that MPC through other hardware units. So if you're running the MPC through an audio interface or through some other type of preamps or converters that will change the sound output of the MPC. And that's something that a lot of people don't really seem to know about. But that option is definitely there. Now, you have to be careful when you're looking at that option. It's because once you get into those kind of outboard pieces of gear to run the MPC through to try to increase your sound quality, they usually come with a pretty hefty price. The better the quality usually means the more money you're going to have to spend to get it. That's just the way it is right now. And there's also an importance to actually learn how to use these hardware devices that you're getting. Because if you get something and you don't know how to use it, you're going to make your audio quality decline before it increases. That's another thing you need to pay attention to. If you're looking to get outboard gear to go with the MPC, learn those devices and don't just throw them on there, because if you don't know how to use the device, you're going to make your sound worse. One more thing that people consistently get wrong when asking about the MPC hardware devices and standalone is this question here. If you buy an MPC standalone device, do you have to get MPC beats? And the answer to that question is an emphatic no. Hell no. Absolutely not. If you purchase any MPC hardware device, it comes with the full MPC 2.0 version. Everything from the MPC Studio and up comes with the full MPC software. So no, you do not have to go download the free version of MPC Beats. All you have to do is flip that MPC over, look at that serial number, go to the InMusic website, and register your device. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to or gave tutorial sessions, and I was going over things that actually comes with the MPC and they didn't have it, and was asking me, well, why don't I have this and you got it? It's because you didn't download and install it. Whenever you purchase a new MPC and you register it, you get a ton of free stuff to go with it straight out the gate. But a lot of people never even bother to register their MPC. And that's why you're missing out on so much stuff. Now, I would like to say that when it comes to standalone, that's not something I have a problem with. And I do use standalone on occasion if I happen to be traveling or something like that, or if I'm just trying to help troubleshoot something. Because if somebody else is using standalone, I want to use mine in the same way so that I can walk them through step by step. But other than that, I don't feel like the MPC in standalone is up to par with the way that I like to use it. I feel like the MPC needs to be a lot more powerful in order for me to switch to using the MPC in standalone full time. So now I feel like I probably lost my train of thought, and there's probably some more things that I wanted to point out about the differences between standalone and controller mode, and why I choose controller mode over standalone. We can talk about it in the comments. Maybe it'll come to me later. That's all I got for this video, and I would love to hear some of your thoughts on some of the stuff I said, but as for now, I'm out.